It's a pleasure for me to meet my brothers and sisters in this part of the world. And having been part of this very, I would say, emotional evening, for me, it's equally learning. The films that I've watched here, especially those of the US, are really impacting me. And it gives me courage because when we say the North, we just think of the global North. In fact, we have to be looking at the people and not at geographical locations. My presentation, in fact, was not supposed to be making a presentation, just to make comments, but I felt that it's important to just have this kind of presentation, although the film has said it all. We entitled this Think Not of Me as a consequence of these international negotiations on climate change. You know, the tendency is that in those negotiations, they see people like me, and they think that we represent the average person in Africa, which is not true. I can afford a square meal a day. I have a car. But it's not about me. It's about those very people whose livelihoods are affected by climate change on a daily basis. And there's injustice by climate itself and by the people that are supposed to take decisions about climate. If climate justice means ensuring that people everywhere are safe from the danger and free from suffering due to climate change, then climate injustice basically means ignoring the fact that some people are suffering every day from the consequences of climate change. Those people are found everywhere. Unless and until we are able to put a human face to this discussion, we cannot get it right. It's not about numbers, it's not about figures, it's about people. And many of those who don't even have the chance or the opportunity to be seen or to be heard. So it's about normal people, average people like this grazer, who now has to wander for days in the wilderness, just looking for grass, pasture for his animals. This has not always been the case, but he has to do that today. It's about this poor woman that has to dig the sand with her bare hands and wait for us just to have drinking water. Having a shower is a luxury she cannot even afford. She just needs water to drink. It's also about my old grandmother who has to prepare her field and wait at the doorstep wondering when the rains will come for her to plant. Because as somebody said, there are no more seasons. She can no more master the seasons when to plant her grain. It's about these people who even live here. These are lands that have retreated. They will never have them back. On the right-hand corner, these are people that have suffered from floods due to torrential rains. And their harbor has been destroyed totally. They don't have money to rebuild their houses. It's about these people that have to walk kilometers just to look for water. It's about these young men who should have been doing something productive for the communities, for the development of their country. They now have to fetch for water in the wilderness, helping the weak and the frail to dig the sands for water. It's real things. It's about those farmers in Burkina Faso that are suffering from floods, and those who in the Horn of Africa are fighting, each one fighting the other just because they are looking for water. man and beast looking for water to drink. It's about this old grandmother that stands there helpless with her siblings, and she has lost her dignity because she does not know how to tell a young person, stop crying, I will give you your food, because she has no food to give them. It's about these people. It's even about education. It's also about education. Because when people don't even have what to eat or what to treat themselves with, they cannot, education becomes a luxury. It's also about food. This poor pygmy child might swallow the last bit of banana he has in the hand and not know when to have the next one. It's about basic things of life. It's about survival. The people are not asking to become millionaires as we saw in the film. No, are they asking for skyscrapers? They are just asking for survival, which is a right of everybody. So, climate change is real. We are suffering, people are suffering in the part of the world where I come from. The poor are suffering even more. There's damage in the coastal lines, infrastructure, and yet these people have done little or nothing to contribute to the current climate crisis we are facing today. This is what is called injustice. You see, the ongoing international negotiations on climate change are very, very challenging, because we are in search of an agreement that will limit the greenhouse gas emissions that we're already having, and then giving back the poor people, the poor Africans that are suffering, their dignity. It's not happening. But there is an opportunity. The next major conference is taking place in South Africa, in Durban. That's on the African continent. We think we should do something. Developed or industrialized countries that, by the very way of life, have contributed to this crisis are expected to do something. Not just because it is their responsibility for having caused it, but because they have the capacity to do so. You see, developed countries emit the majority of greenhouse gas emissions, which cause climate change. Yet it is the poorest countries that are suffering from it. For their disproportionate contribution to the causes and consequences of climate change, developed countries owe a twofold debt to the poor people. The first one is what is called emissions debt. This has come from the excessive emissions developed countries have run up to and must now drastically reduce their emissions. Because if the cause of climate change is the concentration of greenhouse gas emissions in the atmosphere, the solution also has to come from them. We have to stop and reduce the concentration of those gases in the air, in the atmosphere. Then there's also what we call the adaptation debt. Because these have caused problems of climate change, the people that are suffering from it is causing them so much to adapt. So these countries that have caused the problem should support adaptation processes in those countries that are battling with adaptation. You see, the paradox is that while we are negotiating with the rich countries or industrialized countries to change their ways of life, so as just to accommodate every other person, climate is forcing the poor people to adapt. They have a choice, but we don't have a choice. Because I can choose not to have water, but somebody can choose to reduce their consumption of some particular thing that is causing these greenhouse gas emissions. So we are asking for the finances for adaptation to be commensurate with the effects. Because whatever has been put on the table so far in the international negotiations is nothing up to what will be needed or what is needed on a daily basis to solve, to adapt to climate change in those countries. And again, we need deep emission cuts in the industrialized countries. You see, there is need for leadership. History, and you know better than I do, those of you, my brothers and sisters that are living in this part of the world, you know that change needs people with a vision. It needs leadership. It needs people that are consistent, even in the face of all the challenges. We need those leaders that will influence, because the key lies in the leaders who have to take the decisions. And these decisions, as somebody said, must be taken with the people.